Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So I'm here today with this 2001 Peugeot 406. It's got the 2-litre HDI engine, estate, as you can see. This one's actually the family version, so it's got the two little seats in the boot, rooftop on the top there, roof box I should say. So pretty cool looking setup. Bit of a late 90s modern classic, I suppose some people would say. I quite like it, but anyway, this is not a car review channel, it's a car repair channel, so let's get on with that. Okay, so coincidentally enough, the problem with this car in terms of the symptoms was actually very similar to the, I say was because yes, I have already fixed it, so I'm just going to take you through what the fix was. So yeah, it was very similar to the problem that we had on the last video on the Ford Focus C-Max, in that it was low on power. And the main difference between this and the C-Max, if any of you watched that video, was on that C-Max it would be more noticeable at sort of like higher speeds and higher RPMs, whereas on this one it was pretty noticeable even at lower speeds and lower RPMs, but they felt very similar in terms of the symptom. So my first thoughts was, this car's, like I said earlier, it's a 2001 and it has done a 170 odd thousand miles, so you'll see that when that display comes up in a second. So my first thoughts was, assuming it's got a mass airflow sensor, I don't even know if it has, because obviously there's the mileage. I don't even know if it has, because obviously as you'll see in a minute, the repair didn't go that way. But assuming it did have a mass airflow sensor, I thought to myself, it could be a dirty mass airflow sensor, because of the age and mileage it is. Obviously at this kind of age and mileage, or even if it was newer at this kind of mileage, just a mass airflow sensor can certainly get dirty, and then that would actually produce a low power complaint, because a dirty mass airflow tends to underreport the amount of air going into the engine. Excuse me. So that could certainly produce a low power complaint. So that was my very first thought as I first started driving it. But then as I drove it a bit more, I noticed that it felt like the accelerator pedal wasn't moving very much. It was very subtle, but I just felt like, that's not quite feeling right. So then I got focused on that, and I'll change the shot and I'll show you what I did next. Okay, so the first thing I did was I pushed the accelerator down with my hand, and I did, like, don't forget, this is after the fix, okay? So I did in fact notice that, sure enough, as I thought I'd felt on my foot, there wasn't a lot of movement in it. And then I tried lifting it up, and as you can see now, apart from that tiny bit of maybe a millimeter or two, when I try lifting it up, it won't lift up. But before, you could lift it up by about maybe half an inch, maybe even a little bit more, maybe 15-20 millimeters. And then I thought straight away, this has probably got a cable operated throttle, not fly-by-wire, and I thought it's probably going to have something to do with the cable adjustment. So then let me take you where I went next. So under the bonnet, and this is the throttle cable coming in here. This is the throttle body down there, and as you can see, the throttle body sort of comes and terminates here. So this is what I came and checked. And what I found, that sure enough, there was a lot of play here. At the moment, sort of after the fix, there's a tiny bit of play, because you always want a tiny bit of play, but as you can see, you can probably see not very much at all. Before, you could probably, without even pushing on it, easily kind of lift that up by about a centimeter. It generally felt loose, basically. So I thought, yeah, that's not right, need to adjust that. And the way you adjust it is you see this clip, you can pull this clip off like that. Once you pull this clip off, this whole outer part of the cable is free to move. And what I did was I pulled this out until this cable went, like I said, reasonably tight with just a tiny bit of slack. I think it corresponded to maybe about three of these little notches. Put that back on, test drove it, and perfect. Fixed. Okay guys, that was a nice quick repair, so I thought I'd make a nice quick video about it. As always, hope it helps some of you out there. And don't forget that, of course, that in principle this repair could apply to any car that has a cable operated throttle. Obviously the newer cars are generally fly-by-wire these days, so in which case if you've got a fly-by-wire system, you've actually got a sensor down at the accelerator pedal and an electronic actuator at the throttle, so this wouldn't apply. But any car that has a cable operated throttle, then this repair could apply. So I hope you might be able to apply it in your fault finding, diagnostics, repairs, etc. And you find it interesting and useful. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye bye. Okay, so a quick addendum to the video. So first of all, yes, I was using the term throttle body earlier, and I am aware, yes, that this is a diesel and technically diesels don't have throttle bodies. So really when I was saying throttle body, I suppose I was using the term loosely to refer to whatever system controls the air and fuel going into the engine. So I was using the term throttle body loosely there, and yes, technically it was not the correct term to use. But also interestingly, this actually, I'm trying to not get it, actually it's better with the shadow, isn't it? Yeah, this interestingly is actually a fly-by-wire system, because I only had a detailed look at it just now, and as you can see, this is the throttle cable coming into there, and there's actually nothing below it. It's just connected to this sensor, and then this sensor is wired to some wherever it goes, engine, computer, or whatever. So this is actually this is a fly-by-wire system, but they put the throttle sensor here in the engine. I mean, really they could have just put this at the accelerator pedal. Probably would have done the same thing, wouldn't it? But anyway, I'm guessing there must be some reason for it. So just in case it confused any of you, yes, I know, no throttle body anyway, because it's a diesel. I was using the phrase loosely, if you like. And interestingly, this actually is a kind of fly-by-wire anyway, but it still has a cable coming from the accelerator to here. Okay, all right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.